content. Hey y'all, welcome back to another fresh episode of Big Wild Hacking Troubleshooting Edition. So, in this episode, we are going to be going over the BPF syntax, which is Berkeley Packet Filter syntax for capture filters and display filters, and then we're going to jump into some new content. Okay, guys, so Berkeley Packet Filter syntax. That is what's used for capture filters and display filters in Wireshark. It consists of a primitive plus an operator plus another primitive. And that is the basic formation of it. A primitive consists of a qualifier and an ID. So we have both primitives consisting of a qualifier and an ID. An operator would be and, or, not. This is the basic structure of a Berkeley packet filter syntax expression. Now, the basic formation of a Berkeley packet filter syntax expression would be primitive plus operator plus primitive. But it is not limited to just those three functions. You can also add another operator plus another primitive. And you can continue that way indefinitely. So here's an example. A primitive TCP, or the transmission control protocol, dot port is equal to 443, and we use the double ampersands to represent and TCP dot port is equal to 153. Okay, so that's another statement. We got TCP dot port is equal to 443. That's the port number. And TCP dot port is equal to 153. So TCP dot port, that is the qualifier. A logical operator would be the equal to, and 443 is the ID for the port ID, and then the double ampersand for the and operator, and then another primitive TCP dot port operator, logical operator, is equal to port 153. 153 is the ID. A more simple example of Berkeley packet filter syntax would be port 443. There's your primitive. Now we're going to use the operator and port, which would be the qualifier, 153. And we can even add a third one. So do an operator and port 80. And that's the basic structure of BPF syntax, Berkeley packet filter syntax, which is crucial for writing capture filters and display filters. Okay, guys, we're here in Wireshark, and we are going to do a fresh capture using the Berkeley packet filter syntax expression. So we go to Capture, Options, select your network interface, go down here to the capture filter. I'm going to do port 443, port 443, that's the primitive, which consists of the qualifier port and the ID 443. Then I'm going to use the operator, double ampersand for and, port 153. That's the primitive with the qualifier port and the ID 153. Okay, so I have my Berkeley packet filter syntax expression here with the two primitives. One primitive right here, port is the qualifier, ID is 443. And here's the second primitive with the qualifier port, ID 153. And the operator, double ampersand, and. That is a BPF expression, Berkeley packet filter expression. And I'm also going to save this by clicking the flag here, going up to save this filter. And then, so it's right here. I'm going to, oh, here we go. Going to rename it first filter. And now we have that first filter. I'm going to click OK. Now we're going to use this filter. Here we go. Let's browse the internet a bit. See what we get. I'm browsing the internet. Gonna browse and browse and browse a few pages. Gonna browse these pages on the internet. Let's see what we got. No packets yet. Browse the internet. Browse the internet. Browse the internet. Yeah, we're gonna browse. Browse, browse, browse. Browse the internet. No packets. Okay, let's stop the capture. Let's go back up and go into capture filters and look at it. First filter, okay, port 443 and port 153. So now we're going to troubleshoot this. Why didn't we get any packets? Let's do another fresh capture. We're going to do another fresh capture. Go to capture options. And this time we're going to do port 80 and see what we get. Now let's browse the internet. Browse the internet. Browsing, browsing, browsing. Gonna browse the internet. Browsing, browsing, browsing. Okay, let's see if we got any packets. No packets again. There's nothing communicating on port 80. This is crazy. Let's just do a straight capture. We're gonna get rid of the filter. Make sure the Wi-Fi is selected. Click start. Oh look, we got a packet. TCP. Okay, let's stop this capture. Let's scroll back up here to the top. And you know, I'm gonna save this capture just because it's interesting. Save as, and okay, I'm gonna name this interesting capture. The reason I think this is interesting because right here it says info about it. It says SYN-ACK and it's going from port 443 to port 54894. So the source port is 443. The destination port is 54894. Now that's really intriguing because here this packet proves that we have traffic on port 443, which if you remember from the first capture filter I wrote, I used port 443, but it didn't find any packets. So this is very interesting to me. So that's why I saved it. Okay, guys, so back on the subject of filters, we know because we've worked with capture filters and display filters. Here's another little trick about display filters. You see up here where it says apply display filter next to this ribbon here in the top where my mouse cursor is? That is the display filter. So let's say we wanted to just look at ICMP packets. So we want to look at ICMP packets. We also want to look at UDP packets and HTTP packets, but we want to look at them individually and not all in one jumbled file. So this is what you do. Type in ICMP, come over here to the right and click this add button, label it filter 1, and then click OK. And then now we want to look for UDP. We're going to save that by clicking add filter 2, and then we want to get HTTP packets, so we're going to add that and name that filter 3. Now you'll see in the corner we have shortcuts: filter 1, filter 2, filter 3. Filter 1, which is ICMP, there's no packets. Filter 2, which is UDP, there is a bunch of UDP. Oh, this is really interesting. Actually, there's a protected payload. There's a payload going on in there. And filter 3, there's nothing there either. That's HTTP, even though I was browsing websites, which is really weird. But what's really interesting is this UDP. There's there's plenty of UDP packets. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark all of these because that's really interesting. And then I'm going to go into file, or no, wait, oh yeah, export. I'm going to go into file and go to export specified packets, change this to mark packets, and name that interesting UDP cap. No HTTP yet browsing. And now I have that. And that's a neat little feature. Now what I can do is I can go in here and I can go to your interesting UDP, open that up. Oh, let me go back. Hold on. Open that up. What the hell? Still is interesting because it's 443 to 65157. It's UDP source 443. What can we get about what else can we infer about this? So let me see. That was in the interesting cap. Yup, and here it is. Okay, we got it. It's in filter 2. And that was in the interesting, let me just open that again. That's an interesting cap. Then right here, it's back to the, okay, that's great. Perfect. That's exactly what I need. So now I can go in and delete this. This one is not necessary. Whoops. Delete this is not necessary. Delete. Great. That's perfect. This is a perfect capture. Alrighty, that's filters and BPF syntax. Stay tuned, guys, because we're going to be digging into some advanced Wireshark features on the next episode. So stay tuned.
Explicit content.